Together is trying to demystify this. So this is actually really happening right now. And if you're one of the players in this political game, you're probably talking to people right now. You're probably identifying folks that you want to run if you're not running yourself. Welcome, everyone. This is Better Together. I'm your host, Nick Allen. We're really excited today to talk about elections. Not the one we just had, but ones that are coming up very shortly. And I know, it's like, look, Nick, we just had one. Short is like a year away. There's so many days, and that's true, but it's going to be here before you know it. And I know it's a very American, pretty centric thing to have such long campaign seasons, and there's some reasonings behind that. So we're going to dive into those as well. Better Together's mission is so revolved around educating our community, getting them engaged and involved in our local governmental processes and just what's going on in their lives. Obviously, elections are a major aspect of our local governments, but it's not the only one. And honestly, it's not the most powerful one. We still will always argue that collective action and organizing, persuasion, and other types of ways to get done what you want to get done all goes into local government. So, with elections, definitely don't want to ignore them. They're not the end all be all, but you have to play in the game in order to win it. So, we're going to talk about what this game looks like with our presentation, Run for It. And here we are, Run for It 2026 on the horizon. It's a ways out, but it'll be here before you know it. And there's a lot of steps that are taking place before that November day hits. First off, with election season, there's really three phases. We have the invisible primary, and the general election. Always phases within each one of those. But let's start off with what's commonly referred to as the invisible primary. And I say commonly between, those involved in the political side of things. So what that means is no one's announced, and we have seen some announcements obviously already, but many people that are looking to run have not officially announced in several different aspects. So what they're doing right now is known as the invisible primary. You're having folks that are interested in running for positions, talking to other people, definitely people in positions of power, whether that be money or they have influence in some sector of, the community. And they're asking them, they're saying, hey, like I've been thinking about running because if you say you're going to run, that actually triggers a process in the state where you have 10 days to file. Um, no one really follows that, to be honest. They should. There's a ton of election laws that are generally just kind of shrugged off. But if you're doing it right, you're just going, you're saying, I'm thinking about, or I'm wondering, or I'm considering running for office. And so you start asking people, if you're a party member, you usually start asking the party officials, like, is someone else planning on running? If that person ran, would you still support me? All these different things to really line up what you're doing and get some endorsements too. So that invisible primary is going on right now. Some people, like I said, have already announced, so they're past that point, and maybe they did that a couple months ago, started reaching out to folks, but it's always in there and it surprises people. And that's why I want, again, Better Together is trying to demystify this. So this is actually really happening right now. And if you're one of the players in this political game, you're probably talking to people right now. You're probably identifying folks that you want to run if you're not running yourself. So once that invisible primary is done, we open up our primary elections, and those are going to be party run. I am not in any party. I'm an independent, so that comes with its benefits and it comes with its negatives as well. One of the negatives is it's hard to have ballot access. What parties have when they are established and they are recognized by the state is they have easier access to the ballot once their primary candidate is selected. They have an automatic spot. How those candidates can enter the primary ballot is up to the parties, with some caveats around the state of Colorado allowing independents like myself to at least vote within those primaries, but getting access to the ballot is all within the party's purview. I wanted to let everybody know we will be having representatives from the local Democratic Party and the local Republican Party here to talk through their primary process. But that's coming up. I think that's going to be in March. So, like I said, it's a year away from the general, but there's still a lot of steps between then. And of course, finally, the general election that's coming up in November, less than a year away. I know it's only a few days, but still less than a year. And that's your big vote. That's where we get most people voting. Hopefully, we'll have more than 50% of the populace. State of Colorado does pretty good. I looked at 4 years ago for this midterm, and what a midterm is in between presidential elections. So there's no president up, which usually decreases the amount of voters. We had around 66%. So that's a great, well, it's not great. It should be 100%, right? But it's good. It's good, and we definitely want to push more. So those are the three steps. One's already occurring. Some have already announced in their primary, and then we finish up with the general. So let's look at what's coming up within those elections. We have federal, state, and local. Starting off here, we have statewide. I included the federal races into the statewide page because they are voted statewide. So, first we have Senate. That is John Hickenlooper's seat. It is up. He's running again. This is his last time running. At least that is the word he is given. We've heard that word be used before, but I believe it. He's definitely getting older, so it's good that he's gonna wrap up. And there is a primary challenge. I've not heard of many Republicans yet stepping up. And within that piece for federal, we also have the Colorado District 3 congressional seat, and that is Jeff Hurd's seat, which is up every 2 years. He does have a primary challenger. There's one Democratic candidate announced without any challenger, so we'll see how that goes. Governorship. This is one's going to be really interesting. Actually, all of these statewide positions held by Democrats are now open seats because they have all termed out of them. So, governor, of course, is Jared Polis. He is done for his terms. And open seat, we have Phil Weiser and Michael Bennett running for the Democratic primary. And we have about 8 to 10 Republicans running for the Republican primary. So a lot to be seen there. Secretary of State, that was Griswold, and she is term limited. State Treasurer, David Young, term limited. Attorney General, Phil Weiser, term limited. So all of these folks are either running for something else, like I know Griswold is running for Attorney General, and so all of their seats are open. State Board of Education, they have a role to play, including overseeing the state superintendent. Then we have our House districts. So there are different branches of government, right? We have federal, and then we have state, and we have local. And so as a state, we have our own Congress and Senate. And so these seats, we don't have a Senate seat up because those are 6 years, but we do have a House district seat up for 55, which is the what's called the donut around Grand Junction. So it includes Fruita, Palisade, and then loops down into the Delta. And then we have 55, which is really the hub of the city. And so 54 is currently occupied by Matt Soper, who is term limited. So that seat is open. There is one announced primary candidate, Jason Bias, who was the founder of the local Turning Point USA chapter at CMU. And then 55 is occupied by Rick Taggart, who is running for re-election and is currently on the very powerful Joint Budget Committee. They are really in charge of a lot of budgetary decisions. And so he would be hard to beat in that position. And there's some talk about with a position like that, with the West Slope having it, why would another run against him? But we always believe in competitive elections no matter what. And then finally, ballot issues. There's always going to be something from the state in regards to taxes or in regards to certain policies. So be on the lookout for those as well. Next is our local. So we have Mesa County here first. There is County Commissioner Bobby Daniels running for re-election. Clerk and Recorder, that's Bobby Gross. Treasurer Sheila Reiner, who is term limited, and currently there's one candidate that is announced for that seat, or at least filed. I don't know if they've announced, but that's Greg Heights. I'm hearing some rumors of others within the Republican Party that are getting ready to announce, or at least are doing again that invisible primary side. Assessor, sheriff, surveyor, coroner. There's always judges, and then there's going to be issues within that as well. Local issues that for folks to vote on. Also wanted to put in for Montrose County. I know we have a lot of followers out of the county, so they have a county commissioner seat, Sue Hansen, who is term limited there and will not be running. There's an additional seat. This one is actually for Sean Pond, the embattled county commissioner, who was a big ally to Scott Maharis, who recently was recalled. His seat is up. He was never elected to his initial seat. That was a decision by party leadership within Montrose County. So it'll be the first time for Montrose citizens to have a say on his leadership. Then they also have their clerk, recorder, treasurer, assessor, sheriff, surveyor, coroner, judges, and issues. So a ton of seats are up. Not a lot of them are competitive. And that's our biggest thing at Better Together is we just wanted to highlight real quickly for you all the seats that are available for you to run in. And please do not think that you have to run and win. That's I mean, obviously that's the goal, right? The ultimate goal is to be victorious and then implement the policy that you want to see implemented. However, there's so much that goes into that and such a long process. And when you have established parties that, have such a powerful influence on that, it can be hard to break in if you're on the outside. And an easy way is to get involved with the party. That's not the only way. And we'll discuss that in some later videos about how people can be more part of the process as independents and can run. But try it. It's an amazing way to learn about your community. It's one thing that I did and wanted to do when I ran for school board was to learn more about my community. I had some positions and some, ways I thought would be beneficial to the school district and our community, and I wanted to put those forward. And I also wanted to learn more about my community, and I wanted to see what my ideas how they measured up. And it's a great way to do it. And I always recommend people to run for office. I had that background of running, and it is why also I wanted to run is to help teach other people how to get into this system and to know it from the inside because again, it's just so powerful. You're automatically elevated into a position that, you're willing to put yourself forward. You have to be brave. You have to, be willing to be mistreated and embarrassed and, well, I guess you don't have to be embarrassed, but people will try to embarrass you and they will, criticize you and it sucks and like that's part of the hardships of politics. It would be nice if it wasn't that way, but also you have to be ready to take on hard decisions too. So it's a bit of a trial run for folks, and it's fascinating what you learn about yourself when you run. How willing are you to move on certain things? How unwilling you are to move on other things, and just really, you know, meet your community and strive for what you believe in. So that was our point for today was just to highlight what is available for you all to do. And when these cycles come around every 4 years at a county level, there's so many positions that are open and so many that go unfilled or they're not competed in. And that's such a damage to the voter and it's not fair for our democracy and not healthy for the republic because people don't get to have the ability to vote for their ideals. And when I think to myself sometimes that, man, there's no one that I can vote for this cycle that believes most of the things. You can't agree with 100% of somebody, but for most of the things that I believe in, and that sucks. That's not what's supposed to happen. It's hard to see that because you want to be able to express your views. That's why elections are important, but they're not the only thing because there's so many other ways to get involved. We wanted to set this up because we are inviting on Democratic and Republican representation in these next few weeks to really walk through their primary process so we can really just continue to learn and educate each other and get involved because we cannot do anything unless we're doing it together, and we are always so much better together. So, thank you for checking out our video on upcoming elections. We appreciate you all. We'll be in touch. We have some interviews coming up soon, so we're excited to have you all check those out as well. And have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Special thank you to our Patreon members. We are 100% community funded, and your support goes a long way. You can become a member at patreon.com/bettertogether, and we have several options and perks, so check it out.